Alright, this is a continuation to the previous video. I'll probably mark them part 1, part 2, but anyway, a couple more things I want to point out. So, the James Holmes trial began on 4/27 this year, and if you go to the 239th day, which is like 9/23, written the same way, 239 ninth year of the United States this year, 239 is the 52nd prime. But anyway, whatever. 4/27 from the day his trial started to 8/27, the 239th day, is 122 days away. Even the 122nd day is 5/2. So very interesting. Also, the movie Trainwreck originally came out on 3/15, but it didn't come out in the United States until 7/17, which is a span of 124 days. And the movie is 124 minutes long even. And I guess if you want to get real specific, you could break down the 124 to a date as 12/4, which also April 12th, the day the Civil War began. And I mean, all this movie theater stuff all has to do with Abraham Lincoln being shot in a theater, and that they mirrored JFK's death with Abe Lincoln's, and I think they're doing the same with Obama as well. So pretty interesting. And also, I just realized that Abraham Lincoln died 4 years and 3 days after the Civil War began. So another 43 to add to the collection of Abraham Lincoln 34, 43. But anyway, Lincoln also died 4 years, 1 month, 11 days into his presidency. JFK died on 411 Elm Street, kind of like 4 whatever here. But this guy was the one who shot up the Lafayette Theater, and he was born on the same day that JFK died in 1955. So, 7 years before JFK died to the day. And he was 59 years old then, not 58. But John F. Kennedy adds up to 59. And this guy's name adds up to 239 that I've talked about multiple times, the 827 and whatnot. I also forgot to mention the Antioch shooting when the guy was 51 and then they decided to change it to 29. And that's a span of 22 years. And Princess Margaret turned 22 in 1952. So, whatever, she was 21 when Queen Elizabeth became the queen, but then she turned 22 later that year on 8/21. But anyway, 51, 29, 22-year span, and it happened on 8/5. And if you add 22 days to that, it's 8/27, the 239th day. So I don't know they've been foreshadowing 9/23 in so much, but 239 is literally just the mirror of 9/23. So, like I said, anything could be possible or whatever. They definitely have coded a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know what's going to happen. It's just so coded, and I'm just basically pointing it out. But anyway, so what I really wanted to talk about in this video is after I noticed all these 58s or whatever, and I went and I re-looked through my little thing here with all the 58s, and I found some stuff I never talked about before, because they've been foreshadowing like Pope Francis and the West Coast earthquakes and whatnot, and I just felt like that was too obvious. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff with it. San Francisco 122, Pope Francis adds to 122. But anyway, I thought it was too obvious, and the Pope's coming to Philadelphia, which seems pretty obvious too, that you wouldn't think they would do anything, but I don't know. I really feel like it's something to do with the East Coast. So I looked up like Philadelphia earthquakes and whatnot, because I didn't even know if they even really had any, But anyway, here, I'll show you what I found. So on August 23rd, 2011, there was actually an earthquake in Philadelphia, or that rattled Philadelphia. It wasn't actually underneath Philadelphia, but whatever, Philadelphia. But what got me was that it was a 5.8 magnitude. So there's the 58 we've been talking about, and it also says it was the most powerful trembler on the East Coast in 114 years, and the third strongest on record. So we got the 11.4, 114, also the 58. That's what really stood out to me. It even says it was at 1:51 p.m. And if you add up Valentine's Day and gematria, Valentine's Day adds up to 151. Also, thought it was kind of strange in this article here. They talk about this lady Gladys Roan hugs her friend. She was on the 23rd floor of the Blue Cross building in Philadelphia when the earthquake hit. It was very scary. Blah blah blah. Interesting, the 23rd floor. But I added this lady's name up in gematria, and it comes up to 49 and 121. That's very interesting because Revelation adds up to 49 and 121 as well. And this was in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is even in the book of Revelation. It's one of the churches. So, I mean, we've talked about that previously. Just found that pretty interesting. And I talked about previously about Michael Jordan and his significance to it, and I figured out that the capital of the country, Jordan, was actually originally, or a long time ago, it was called Philadelphia. And it was completely taken over by the Romans in 106 AD, which very interesting because Michael Jordan, the first time that he retired was on 10/6, like 106. Also, the Philadelphia train crash, the train had the 601 for the engine number on it, and when it was going 106 miles an hour. There's a ton of 106. I'm not going to keep explaining it all, just figured, I mean, that's a short little thing here, just kind of interesting. But also, what stuck out to me was that it says shortly after it was taken over by the Roman or Rome or whatever, the city was completely destroyed by earthquakes. So, I mean, just kind of interesting. It makes me really wonder if there's going to be a massive East Coast earthquake or something to do with Philadelphia and an earthquake. And they have foreshadowed that the bridge, whatever it is, the Ben Franklin Bridge, I think it is, they've foreshadowed that in tons of movies. I've just seen it when doing Philadelphia research, so obviously they're probably going to show it. But I have seen that bridge a lot, and they've been foreshadowing like the Golden Gate Bridge. Just makes me wonder if they're going to do something to a different bridge, or if maybe an earthquake is going to collapse the bridge. Who knows? But there's actually more that I want to talk about with this 58, and so this earthquake was 5.8, and like I said, the third most powerful on the East Coast in 114 years, which I don't believe that's actually correct, but yeah, I'll show you here. Okay, but so that earthquake was called the 2011 Virginia earthquake, and it was on 8/23 of 2011. And 8/23, 2011 to 8/27 this year, the 239th day, is 4 years and 4 days away. And remember I talked about Queen Elizabeth and how it all seems to be about the royal family, it seems like. But her sister was born 4 years and 4 months after her. Even the word earthquake adds up to 44. Obama is the 44th president. And on that one article, it talked about the 114 years later. 11 times 4 is even 44. It even says that the 5.8 magnitude, it ties the last earthquake or whatever, the last strongest earthquake, which was in 1944 even. But before I even get into that, I wanted to talk about where it was. It says the epicenter was actually, or wherever, yeah, the epicenter was right next to this town called Mineral. Actually, Mineral, Virginia. And just look at the gematria of Mineral, Virginia. 89 and 161. I mean, what are the odds of that? Weird. And I actually explained that in the previous part if you don't understand what I'm talking about. So I wanted to check out this earthquake then. This was the last strongest earthquake, or it tied it at 5.8. So interesting. But it was even on 44 degrees north in 1944. And it occurred on September 5th, 1944. And kind of weird because September 5th and August 23rd are the same day when you convert them Gregorian to Julian. So the last earthquake in 2011 was on 8/23. This one was also 5.8, and it was on the same day pretty much. And I guess it doesn't necessarily have to mean anything. I just took this day of this earthquake, and I just took it to 8:27 of this year. It foreshadowed this day, the 239th day of the year. And it's 25,923 days. I mean, so we've been talking about the 52 like crazy and also 923. So just found that pretty interesting, I guess, that 25 and 923 would pop up when you search that or whatever. And also 10-6 was a pretty big day. Like I said, they've signified that or whatever. There's been a lot of patterns or whatever. And if you go from that earthquake to 10-6, it's 71 years, 1 month, 1 day. So just whatever, kind of interesting that it's just so many ones and whatnot. 7111. I talked about Princess Margaret dying at the age of 71. But anyway, let's move on here. All right, so moving on here. So the according to ABC News here, the worst, highest magnitude earthquake recorded on the U.S. East Coast occurred in Charleston, South Carolina, 1886, registering a 7.3 with aftershocks, blah, 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 blah. Well, Charleston, for one, interesting, because of the Civil War, because that's where the Civil War actually began, was in Charleston. But let's check out this earthquake then. It happened on August 31st, 1886. And check out the coordinates. I mean, you can't make this up. 32.9 north, like 923, 329. I mean, very interesting. But I took August 31st, 1886, and I went to the 1944 5.8, and it's just astounding. I mean, 8/31, 1886 to 9/5, 1944. 58 years, 5 days. 585, 58, 58. I mean, what are the odds of that? That are no way. So, I mean, I don't know what that really, I don't know. They're running so many stories together, I can't figure out what's actually going to happen or if it's all going to happen or what. But really strange. I don't know if they're going to, if there's going to be an earthquake, if they're going to kill Obama and the Pope and the Queen, or, I don't know. I just don't get it. I see all these patterns. I just don't know how to, I just don't know. It's missing something, it feels like. But anyway, I just did the worst earthquake to this year where I thought maybe something might happen. And I mean, these numbers don't make any sense to me. So, and I tried it with 923 and a bunch of them. None of them really stand out. I guess I did notice a few other things though. So the one in 2011 in Philadelphia that I talked about, if you go to the Lafayette shooting, it's 3 years, 11 days. The 311, and that's what I talked about this before. Prince William, his real name adds up to 311. So I mean, I don't know if it's foreshadowing him becoming the king or something. Also, I mean, 311 it goes along with the KKK and the Civil War type theme, the domestic violence, the race war, all kinds of stuff. I also went to 8/5 then, because that was the Antioch shooting, and it's 3 years, 11 months, 13 days, and that's also 13 days after 7/23. But just kind of interesting. 3/11 or 3/11 and 3/11 backwards. Interesting on this too. Charleston earthquake adds up to 222, and Amtrak is 222. We've seen that the Philadelphia Trainwreck and whatnot. More stuff to it, but also the word 85 adds up to 62. It's all about the Queen. 58 adds up to 61. That's all with the Civil War. But it also talks about the New Madrid earthquake on here. So basically the worst earthquake. But it was on 89 degrees west. It also talks about the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. I found it interesting that it was at 5:12 a.m. and 5:12 was the Philadelphia train wreck and whatnot. So interesting, I guess. Just another thing they're foreshadowing earthquake with. And I'm just going to leave it right here. I'm going to end it, but you can kind of read through here. I added 58 and subtracted 58 from some of these days. And interesting, though, that when you subtract 58 from 827, it's 630 of 2015. But if you subtract 85, the mirror of 58, from 923, it's also 630. And if you add 85 to 827, it's 1120. And if you add 58, the mirror, to 923, it's 1120. And I guess we'll see what happens. So have a good night.